Welcome back, Patriots, to the Bald Brad Show. We're kicking today's episode off with yesterday's White House press briefing, where Karine Jean-Pierre, the DEI hire, is questioned by a reporter on why do majority of voters in swing states feel like they would be financially better off under Donald Trump than Joe Biden. Listen to her idiotic and insane answer. Let's roll it.
Thank you, Karine. Our new CBS News poll found that registered voters in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania believe that they would be financially better off if Trump wins. How do you explain that?
Going to be careful because we're talking about registered voters. We're talking about a candidate now, obviously the former president who's now a candidate. I got to be mindful of the Hatch Act, and so can't speak to that specifically, but what I will say more broadly is we understand what Americans have gone through. We understand that the pandemic was a heavy burden on Americans. We understand that Putin's aggression into Ukraine caused inflation to rise, right? Pandemic caused inflation to rise, caused damages to the supply chain. And so that's why the president took action. The American Rescue Plan obviously was incredibly important in turning the economy around, dealing with the supply chains. And we also understand that prices are still too high. They're still too high. So this is why you hear us talk about junk fees. This is why you hear us talk about lowering prescription drugs. It is important making sure that big corporations and billionaires pay their fair.
Is she seriously talking about junk fees and prescriptions when people are struggling to fill up their cars, pay the electricity bill, the utility bill, pay for groceries? And she's going to talk about junk fees and talk about how the American Rescue Plan saved all of us. It fixed the economy, but yet prices are too high. Maybe it's because your boss, Joe Biden, thought it would be a great idea to send trillions of dollars into the economy and artificially inflate everything. And then when it happens, you guys are dumbfounded that the inflation was at 9.1%, which I had never seen in my lifetime. Hasn't happened in 40 years. This lady's an idiot. Oh, but she's not done. She's not done. Just wait till she gets into the corporations on increasing corporate tax and then telling us that those businesses and corporations paying their fair share is better for all of us. You can't wrap your head around it.
Fair share. And so we're going to do more work, and we're hoping that message gets through to the American people. That's why you've seen the president in New Hampshire, in Las Vegas, in Madison, Wisconsin, laying down that message directly to the American people. But there is a contrast here. There's a stark contrast to what we see, what the president has been doing, this administration, the Biden-Harris administration, and what Republicans are trying to do. They literally put out a budget that cuts Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and gives special interest groups, billionaires and corporations, a tax break. The president doesn't believe that. So that's what I will say. I have to be really mindful to not speak specifically to that poll, but more broadly, that's what I can say, and we understand what Americans are feeling right now. That's what we're trying to do more.
Is the president frustrated that despite the fact that he continues to say what he has done, that some Americans are not feeling the impact of his policies?
Look, we have seen some consumer confidence go up over the past couple of months. I think that's important to note. And so that is out there. That data is out there.
Probably because we all see Donald Trump coming into office soon, lady. We got no confidence in Joe Biden. Who the hell has confidence in Joe? Holy crap.
Look, we're talking about a president who understands what it feels like to sit around your kitchen table and have to make difficult decisions. We get that. He gets that. This is why he's trying to build.
Patriots, Bald Brad Army. Does anybody believe that? Joe Biden bought like an ice cream the other week and was astounded by the price of it. Really? Oh, he understands you guys. He's fully aware and cognizant of what's going on. No, he isn't.
Build an economy from the bottom up, middle out. He's been very clear about this. Is a sympathetic president, so he gets it. So he's not going to be frustrated by that. What he's going to do is continue to do the additional work to lower cost and do everything that we can there, and to go out there and speak directly to the American people. I think that's the most effective way to do that.
Just one quick
Sure.
She's going to talk about corporations paying their fair share. The Biden administration wants to increase taxes on corporations. Everybody knows that the tax gets passed on to who? all of us. She's going to complain about prices being too high still. Well, what do you think's going to happen, Karine, when, you pass that tax on to all of us? You think prices can get any better? Holy lordy. Folks, if this administration wanted to do anything, they would have done it already. You want to know something very easy that could have been done to lower all our prices on energy and food? Drill, baby, drill. Decrease the cost that we're all paying at the pump, increase that oil production so the cost of freight goes down, and that cost of freight decrease can be passed on the consumer as a decrease, or at least stay stagnant, and then we're all going to feel a little bit of relief. But because you pigeonholed yourself in a campaign by saying, I'm going to get rid of the fossil fuel industry because I'm holier than thou. No, Joe, you're an idiot. And that's why we're in the situation we're in. But don't worry, go ahead and blame Putin's price hike like you've been doing. Blame Xi Jinping and the COVID stimulus, whatever the hell you want to freaking blame it on. Folks, have you felt like every time she talks, it's like their first 6 months in office? Well, we understand, and well, we're in a transition phase, and we just really want to, start from the bottom, middle out, and really grow the economy. Lady, you're at the end of your first term. Like, how many years do you need here to change anything? And it's not just her that's spewing lies, but a lot of people are just in shock that people are supportive of Trump. And one of those people is Jim Acosta. Can you imagine this guy's still around? Jim Acosta's still around. So he was supposedly stunned by a CNN poll show majority view Trump presidency as a success. Like, these people can't wrap their head around it. And look at that advertisement for us, huh, boys? So CNN host Jim Acosta on Monday was astounded by a new poll that majority of Americans perceived former President Donald Trump's term as successful. Mind you, the second half of Donald Trump's term was COVID, and people still thought it was better than Joe Biden's, which tells you everything you need to know about the Biden economy. So 55% of Americans believe Trump's presidency was successful, while the same percentage of voters said in January 2021 that it was a failure. So Acosta lost this stuff and said it was extraordinary. That some voters look back fondly at Trump's presidency. Yeah, we weren't paying $6, $7 for gas, $20 for eggs, $6 for a Diet Coke at freaking McDonald's. You're damn right, Jim. We wish Donald Trump was back in office because we weren't getting reamed behind by Joey here. I can't even talk. I'm so frustrated. So, quote, the other thing that's in that poll is it shows that a lot of Americans view Donald Trump's presidency as a success, which is extraordinary given the fact that 1 million people died from COVID. Well, that's not Donald Trump's fault. That's called China's fault, of which Joe Biden looked at Trump in the eyes during the 2020 campaign and said, China's going to eat your lunch, man. Everybody's destroying Joe. China's destroying Joe. Russia's destroying Joe. Ukraine is destroying us as well because they're taking all of our money, of which needs to go here to build everything else that's collapsing in terms of our infrastructure. Mexico's destroying Joe. I mean, everybody is taking advantage of Joe Biden because his head ain't working. The guy ain't all there. I know you guys are aware of that, and I know we repeat ourselves here, but it's amazing. It really is amazing, you guys, that 81 people allegedly voted for that guy. 81 million. Now, I know it wasn't really 81 million. I'm right there with all of you. Trust me. Still astonishing nonetheless. And you want to know what's even more astonishing? That there's still 40 plus million people out there that are still going to come out and vote for this guy. There's people that are saying this guy's better than Trump. Just let that one sink in. It's wild. I know. So over 60% of voters believe President Joe Biden's term has been a failure so far. But don't worry, he understands your kitchen table issues, you guys. He's been there. He understands that you can't afford groceries and, pay for gas. No, he fully gets it, but he's not going to do anything about it. Which doesn't that make everything worse? That they're sitting there acknowledging that they're reaming you from behind, and they're saying, yeah, we get it, but don't worry, we cost the price of your inhaler to go down. Whoa, really feeling it, Joe. Those junk fees, whoa. The junk fees have to do, in part, with, like, if you want to go on, like, Ticketmaster and buy a Taylor Swift ticket, okay? That's partly to do with junk fees. There's some other junk fees in there as well. People can't afford T-Swift tickets, Joe. They can't afford eggs and bread and milk. But don't worry, you guys. They totally understand. They totally understand what you're going through. So this gets me back to Karine Jean-Pierre here, the DEI hire, because we have an update. If you recall, over the weekend, we dropped some news that we were correct for the last year that Karine Jean-Pierre was getting pushed out. That they sat there and tried to strategize a coup to remove Karine Jean-Pierre rather than just firing her, because they can't, because she's a DEI hire. They'd be called racist and homophobic if they try to remove her. Well, we got an update here from the Biden administration saying that they're denying that it was a secret internal plot to get rid of the White House press secretary. Oh, like we're going to believe this? Come on, everybody knew it was true. Deputy White House press secretary Andrew Bates, who is known to be a liar just as much as Joe Biden is, as well as their boss, his boss rather, Karine Jean-Pierre, she's a liar as well. He said he forcefully rejected claims from multiple sources with knowledge of the plans, which included longtime Biden senior advisor Anita Dunn. Quote, not only are these claims wildly false, but the reality is the polar opposite. Everybody loves Karine. She's so great at her job. She answers everybody's questions. Karine was never approached by anyone with such message. She spends 4 hours preparing every day. This is so out there. This reminds me of Joy Behar, The View, where she said that Joe Biden exercises like 4 hours a day. She got all giddy because he walked and put his shoes on. Like, this is that same idea here. She doesn't, if she prepares 4 hours and that's the result that we got, like you saw today, you still need to be fired then. And neither Jeff nor Anita did any such thing. Both have been unflinchingly supportive of her. Oh, sure, nobody supports her. John Kirby doesn't. Joe Biden doesn't even support her, which is why she can't get FaceTime with the president, and John Kirby does. According to the Post sources, Jean-Pierre's bosses weren't happy with her habit of reading prepared answers directly from her binder, which they viewed as falling short of making an adequate case for President Joe Biden and his prepared launch in his reelection. So rumors were true. They were trying to get rid of her. It blew up in their faces over the weekend, and now they're trying to do damage control, going, well, we didn't really want to get rid of her. It's all fake. It's not real. All those high-profile sources with their names in there. It wasn't like an anonymous source. Oh, they're all lying, you guys. Everybody's lying. Here's the thing. Maybe I would believe you guys in the White House if you didn't gaslight us all the time and you didn't push the Russia hoax, that whole witch hunt, tell us that the Biden family's not corrupt when in actuality they are, that Joe Biden, he never knew where the classified documents were, even though we have him on audio saying that he knew exactly where they were, and then he was going to give classified information to his ghostwriter, or the fact that Karine Jean-Pierre lied 5 times regarding she had no idea about the classified documents and the Twitter files, and she knew nothing about it, even though she did multiple times and was called out multiple times. The amount of lies from this administration is head spinning, and I'm not going to believe a damn thing that they say, especially Karine Jean-Pierre or Andrew Bates, who are known to be chronic liars. Now, some other stuff that's coming out here with updates is what's going on with Israel and Hamas, and the Biden administration saying that there's a huge deal for a ceasefire. Now, I want to get into the deal itself, but some numbers that they keep throwing at us in article after article is more than 34 Palestinians have been killed during Israel's response. You have to understand is that, one, we're not even sure if it's 34,000. These are just wild numbers. One of the other things that it could be is partially 34,000 is for Hamas, and then 34,000 is, or partially that 34,000 is for Hamas, partially that 34,000 is for Palestinians. They're not really designating which ones are terrorists and which ones aren't. And then 77,000 are wounded. This comes from Palestinian Health Ministry. So you got to take it kind of as a grain of salt. It's a terrible figure regardless, but I just want to point out that a lot of people take this as like pure truth, which we don't really know what's going on there. Now, here's the deal that's being proposed. So the latest proposal includes a 40-day ceasefire and may include the release of potentially thousands of Palestinian prisoners held in Israel's detention. Now, you might think, oh, cool, we're going to like get a ton of, hostages back and all those things. No. We might get 33 hostages if we're lucky. Folks, you're negotiating with terrorists at this point, okay? We don't know what we're going to get. We might get 2 hostages for hundreds of freaking prisoners from the Israeli side. So who knows what's going to happen here? But that's allegedly the proposal, and I guess it's extraordinary. Karine Jean-Pierre was asked, and we're not going to show it, but she was asked in yesterday's White House press briefing why it was extraordinary, and she said that she didn't want to get into the specifics and the details and speak on behalf of something that she doesn't know anything about. Like, she really did say that. She said she doesn't want to get into the specifics and the details of it, but that it's something that's being proposed or given a proposal, and that's something that Hamas should take. So remember, Hamas sat there on October 7th, ran roughshod over a bunch of Israelis. Israel responded with some serious force, and Hamas is taking the water and the food that were flying into Gaza and selling it on the black market. We sit there and create a pier that's being manufactured with our money so that we could bring food and water to the Gazans so there's not a freaking famine, and they attack the pier. But yet you have these people protesting on these college campuses as if they're doing anything for the cause. If you know people are starving and you really cared and you're going to be out there protesting, oh, stop, but we need a ceasefire, and your LGBTQ for Hamas stuff, why would you not sit there and maybe instead of sitting in a freaking tent and whining and complaining about what's going on, why don't you sit there and start buying food? Like, you bought a $400 tent. You know how much food and water you could buy and donate to the people of Gaza so they don't starve, so they don't sit there and die of thirst? But no, these people are not jobs on these college campuses. So what I really think at the end of the day, and nobody's talking about this, I can't believe people have had a thought about it. It's astonishing to me. As far as I'm aware, I listen to everybody. I've had nobody have this take. And I might upload a separate video that's only a minute. I think the pier is, yes, one, to bring in water and food. I think the other one is to get people out of Gaza. I think what they're going to do is they're going to start refugee camps in areas. They're going to ship off people and bring them here. That's what I think is going to happen. Look, I might be wrong. I might eat my words. But I think that's what's going to happen here because they ain't going anywhere else. So we'll see what happens with that. I'll make sure I keep you updated. Now, some other updates that are going on here is a hotel quietly converted into migrant shelter, an up-and-coming neighborhood. Here we go. Now, if you had to guess, it's on your screen. Hold on, let's take it off. Do you think this is Chicago? Do you think it's Los Angeles, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, New York, maybe Washington, D.C.? Like, if you had to guess, folks, as you saw already, it's New York City has been quiet about the fact that it has transformed its migrant shelter that was bought and paid for by the Democratic New York City Mayor Eric Adams administration. Now, wait till we get into the figures here. Located in Williamsburg neighborhood of Brooklyn, the 55-room hotel has been home to migrant families with children thanks to a $12 million emergency contract funded by the NYC Department of Homeless Services. It's wild. $12 million. These are people that are getting their lawyer fees paid for. They're getting rental assistance. They're getting their meals paid for, their education paid for, their health services paid for. In Chicago, they're getting $84,000 a year in income. You're not even getting $84,000 a year income, some of you. I'm not even making $84,000 a year. So the news guarding the change has not been reported until months after the banquet hotel underwent the initial transition. Just a normal transition, folks. Oh, nothing to see here. Astonishing. All the while our veterans are on the streets. So the shelter is supposed to serve migrants only temporarily. You guys, what they're doing is they'll sit there and you'll have a family that will come in or just a bunch of military-aged men. They take up those hotel rooms and they can only stay for like 30 days. But then what they do is they take them out of the hotel rooms and they transition them and transport them to a home base shelter. And the people that were at the home base shelter now transition into hotel rooms. And it's just a revolving circle. And so they're saying, oh, well, it's only a transition. It's only for a short period of time. Those people will be back. Those same people will be back in the hotel room later on. They're doing some shady stuff here with your money. I mean, this person that owns the hotel is freaking profiting $12.3 million. Ain't a bad sum of money. This is not a new site. Has been open for quite some time. Williamsburg is renowned for its hipster vibe and is home to New York City's trendiest restaurants and nightclubs, according to a neighborhood profile. Hotel Le Jolie is one of more than 100 other hotels based in and around the Big Apple that have given the green light to provide emergency shelter services on behalf of the city to combat an ongoing migrant crisis. Of course they are. Why would you not? If you know that you're going to be able to fill those rooms and that you're going to get a nice paycheck from the government, of course you would open your doors to it. Now, check this out. Oh boy, look at that number. By next fiscal year, New York City Hall foresee that the crisis could cost taxpayers, I'm losing my breath when I say this number, $10 billion with a B. $10 billion. These libs, these leftists, these Democrats, it's not a problem. It's somebody else's money. Don't even worry about it. They'll fix it. There's a solution to all this, you guys. Except the solution's only gotten worse under Joe Biden and the progressive left running the show. Well, speaking of people from the progressive left, you got Sonny Hostin, folks. This psycho. Sonny Hostin, a far left co-host of ABC's News The View, who I can't believe anybody with brain cells walks out of there with more brain cells, made numerous false claims on Monday about the pro-Hamas protests that have erupted on college campuses across the country over the last couple weeks. Now, this is what she said. Wild. I think we need to shift the framing of these college protests. I think college campuses have been the place for anti-war protests for as far as I can remember. I think recent protests haven't even reached the scale of the major student protests that we saw in the 1960s against the Vietnam War, or even the 1980s against South Africa's practice of apartheid. So I think these are anti-war protests. And I think it's very distressing that we are framing these as pro-Palestinian protests or as pro-Israel protests. These are anti-war protests. Lady, you act like we're not reading the signs. You act like we're not listening to their words and what they're saying. These aren't anti-war protesters. These are people that are calling for the extermination of the Jews. And it's not like we're making it up. It's not like we're just pulling it out of our you-know-what. It's on tape. It's on their fucking banners. These people are supportive of Hamas and what they did on October 7th. They're not hiding it, Sonny. They're not hiding it. But this lady goes on The View and says idiotic things. So these other people that aren't working, these stay-at-home people, are just soaking it all in. It's not like this airs when people are off work, folks. It airs during the day, right? Now, at many of the demonstrations, protesters have shown support for Hamas, the foreign terrorist organization FTO. Folks, Hezbollah while chanting the slogan that appears on ISIS flag. They're also they're wearing, here's the Hezbollah flag, but don't worry, you guys. These are just anti-war protesters. That's all they are. There's nothing to see here. These people are stomping on the American flag, but don't worry. They're all pro-America. They just want a better life for Americans and this country as a whole. Man spotted wearing a Hamas headband, waving an ISIS flag. The left are idiots. They really, really are, folks. In New Haven, yesterday, protesters chanted in Arabic, "No God for Allah." And the same words that appear on the ISIS flag. Oh, where'd they get that from? Oh, because it's from ISIS. Oh, you know, the people that massacred, beheaded people, lit them on fire, drowned them in cages. Yeah, those people, these are the people that are supportive. But don't worry. You know, the View has their head on straight. They're known to spew a bunch of facts. Wild stuff. So the other wild news that's taking place on college campuses is obviously Columbia University, where this kind of whole thing metastasized out, and now people are chanting, you know, death to Israel, death to America, left and right on these college campuses. Well, they're asking for, one of their demands is that Columbia and all these universities divest from Israel. So Columbia University just came out yesterday and said that they will not divest from Israel. A top official at the Ivy League school said on Monday. Probably a good call, because a lot of wealthy firms are ran by Jewish people. And when they see this and they see Columbia University on any resume, guess what they're going to do with that resume? Right into the trash can. If I was a business owner, which I guess we are here with the Bald Brad Show, if I had an employee not hiring from Harvard, no way in any Ivy League I'm not hiring from. If I would have seen anybody's name from any Ivy League or these leftist institutions or my alma mater, USC, where I got my master's from. I ain't hiring anybody, regardless of whether you partook in this or not, all because the university's not willing to stand up for, in my opinion, what is right. Now, that goes outside of, is what Israel doing right? Is what the Palestinians are doing right? No, I don't have a full-fledged pick of either side here. What I'm saying is, I don't think it's right to shut down universities where students are paying $70,000 plus a year to go to, and now they can't attend classes and get a quality education. We'll put that in air quotes. A quality education that they paid for, because you want to sit there and allow these freaking snowflakes to run roughshod over your university. In the same way they ran roughshod over our cities, where they burned them down with Antifa, Black Lives Matter, and now these pro-Palestinian protesters that are supporting Hamas. They chant death to America. They step on the American flag. They spit on it. They light it on fire. These are the people, folks. These are the people that would rather be here than actually be in Palestine. They'll say, oh, I wish I could go back home, but we're occupied. We're being taken over. No, we're being ran over. Nobody stopped. I mean, if you could buy a $400 tent, you could buy a $400 plane ticket right there, and they'll fly you right in. They will fly you right in. But we all know why they're here. Yeah, we all get it. Us patriots and conservatives, we get it. We get it. Well, folks, that's the episode for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Always great hanging out with you. I didn't really have any funny clips for you today, but we have mugs. People always ask, that's why I throw this at the end of the show. If you want to support us, you hitting that like and subscribe button, leave us a comment down below, and just watching all the way through, folks. That is more than enough. We do have some very generous members here. They are patriots. They're part of the Bald Brad Army. And you as well can be a part of the Bald Brad Army if you would like. Look, the Biden economy, Bidenomics sucks. Fully get that, things can be pricey, that you got a budget, folks. But if you're willing and you want to support with your hard-earned money, we do have a membership tab right down here. If you just click that join button, 99 cents a month goes to feeding a conservative bald guy. I'm just kidding. It's not feeding me. It's going all back into the show. We use advertisement because we're being shadow banned here. It allows us to kind of get around this crap that we're dealing with YouTube. But please don't feel like you have to give your hard-earned money, folks. Okay, please don't feel like that. You just watch and hanging out with this community. That's all we want here. Have a good time with each other. Right in the live chat, right in the comment section. Rip Joe Biden a new one. Voice your free speech, folks, as much as you can without YouTube deleting your comments. Don't worry, guys. They've removed my videos too. We're all in it together, baby. We all in it together. And with that being said, patriots, I will see you next time here on the Bald Brad Show.